What's going on, everybody? Hopefully everyone has been having a great day so far, and we are just about to go live. What's up, everybody? If you're unfamiliar with who I am, I'm Chris Mizo. I usually talk about PC hardware and tech. This is a open chat, so feel free to talk about anything you would like. If it comes to your PC hardware, you're looking for anything specific, if you're doing a PC build, maybe you're excited for Black Friday because that's coming up really soon. I'm trying this whole new setup right now. I got this fan actually, this little cheap little, it's probably like maybe about like a 20 millimeter fan that's on the back of it. Oh, don't need that to, oh, okay. I apologize for that, guys. I got my streamer bot out of control here. Hopefully it deleted that action. Let me exit out of here actually and restart it. Oh wow, that was out of control. That was supposed to be a random action. I was supposed to that was actually supposed to be random and not start spamming my chat, but I apologize for that, everybody. But if you have any questions when it comes to PC hardware and when it comes to PC builds, feel free. You can certainly ask. What's up? What's up? Welcome in. And I gotta say, have you seen the RAM prices? It's been a bit insane. With the RAM prices, I gotta say, I was looking today earlier, looking specifically at Corsair, or I was looking at G-Skill, or really any big manufacturer. It seems that they're all priced insane. And that's even including the official website. What's up, LSG? It's a bit hilarious, right? I put random action and that happened. You haven't posted for 4 days. Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, the streamer bot had randomly decided to take a mind of its own. So it's probably making up for all these last days that I threw in. So I'm definitely gonna mess with that later and see, check the settings on it, because streamer bot has changed up its settings a little bit. Oh yeah, and that's the sad thing. Now, remember, if you were in my previous streams, if you weren't in my prior streams before, I did mention about GPUs. Now, currently, if you're in need of a GPU, I highly recommend to go ahead and start looking for a GPU, because there's already indications in the market that purchasing a GPU is actually going to skyrocket, similar to how it is with RAM. And the reason behind it is obviously the VRAM. There's a big demand for GDDR6 and GDDR7, which is both what AMD and NVIDIA both carry. Yes, and it's insane. In fact, we could take a look at Corsair's website right now, and we could take a look at the price. And my jaw literally dropped. It's become nearly unaffordable for anybody who does want to build a PC, because the pricing is just, well, it's just insane. Just for some CL30, 6000 megahertz RAM, 64 gigabytes, let's say, your mouth will literally drop when you see the price. And I'm not kidding. This is not no typical average price. This is not no, oh, maybe it's just up a little bit. Maybe it's up $50, $75. And you smell that? It smells terrible in here. And that's exactly what that is. It's all BS that's going on right now with the RAM pricing. Okay, so let me just show you exactly what's going on here. Take a look at Corsair's RAM right here. Nice, beautiful RGB Vengeance RAM. What's your thought on my PC build, the NVIDIA RT? I will certainly get back to you. Give me the full specs. Just don't give me half of them. Give me full specs here. So that's the price. No kidding, right? I was not kidding about the pricing. So I'm going to fix the chat for you guys over on the browsing side. For some reason, I decided to go all the way up there. And that just shows you, I apologize for that poll. Yeah, but that just shows you how ridiculous the pricing is for when it comes to the RAM. Right there. How is that affordable? You can nearly get a GPU for that price. It's insane. Yep, that's why I had to pull the trigger on the 5080 for 1050. You gotta. It's a no-brainer at that point. Imagine when you can get an NVIDIA 6. You're not kidding, Epic. And you might be able to get a RTX, one of the RTX 6000 workstation GPUs for a cheaper price than getting RAM currently. That's how expensive it is. It's just insane. Just how does this make any type of sense here? And let me just bring you guys down back to earth, because I know you guys are in the middle of the chat there. But $880. Now, let's say you just need RAM. You just need to get RAM for your PC build. You don't have to get 64 gigabytes. Nobody really needs to get 64 gigabytes. That's definitely the recommended to get, because you want to have the extra capacity just in case. So let's go ahead and just put this down to, say, 32 gigabyte kit, right? Just a standard 32 gigabyte kit, right? $441. This is Corsair's website here. Oh, it's reloading now. Yeah, be the first to know how to get ripped off, right? Be the first to know. Okay, so we're going to go back on it. 32 gigabytes of two 16 gigabyte modules. $441. And this is just at 6,000 mega transfers. This is going to be for a wonderful CL30. At least it's CL30. It's not CL36, but it is CL30. That 1 terabyte, 6,000 850 Corsair power supply, 1 terabyte SSD, 32 gigabytes, and what else do you have? Let's see. You have 5060 Ti. It's a decent build. It's an excellent build, in fact. You got a great build. Sounds closely, it resembles very closely to Epic Gamer's build, actually. But you got a 5060 Ti. The 5060 Ti, honestly, it's not the best, but it certainly can get around, especially if you're gaming 1080p. If you game on a 1080p monitor, that's perfectly fine. More than likely, you probably don't really want to take advantage of frame generation. If you do, you more than likely going to take it up and say even up to, it might be pretty decent even if you go into 1440, but you might want to push up into like something like a 5070 Ti. And I'd say do it today, because man, I'm telling you, you think it was expensive now, right? You think the GPUs are expensive now. They're below MSRP currently, but they will go up. And I've been talking for at least 2 weeks about this, that it's going to go up, and this is going to be the sign of it, and it's going to happen rapidly. Matter of fact, like when it came to RAM, when the price just increased and shot up through the sky, it happened in September, and it wasn't long before then where it was just average pricing. In August, we were able to get a full out bundle. Go to Micro Center, and you're going to go see. If you go to Micro Center here, and you're going to see those typical bundles that you get, whether it's AMD or Intel, they come bundled with just the motherboard and the CPU. The memory, the RAM that you expect that comes into those like bare bone kits that they offer with Micro Center are gone. They're not there anymore. In fact, you can take a look at RAM, but it's just not in the package deal anymore. It's no longer $400 or $500 for that nice, wonderful starter kit where you can build a PC. That is just how expensive RAM currently is today. So one of my friends from college saw a setup with a 560 GB of what? Don't tell me that's RAM, because that wouldn't make any sense at all. Okay, so Chris, instead of doing a PC giveaway, yeah, 250. Yeah, you know what? 256 gigabytes of RAM. Let me just go dig out all the RAM that I can find right now. In 2 sticks, right? 128 gigabytes a stick. I paid $228 for 32 gigabytes of Crucial DDR5 Pro overclocking RAM at Micro Center. That makes perfect sense. That's how much RAM should be. In fact, in the beginning of the year, when we did buy RAM, we bought Corsair's 64 gigabyte kit. CL6000, the same exact kit that you saw that was $800 earlier, about $880. Now, just in January, I only purchased it for $212. So now it's gone up nearly 4 times the price that it originally was, which is insane. It should nowhere be near that price. In fact, this is like when getting RAM, it's actually quite a boring upgrade, I gotta say. Out of all the components, that's one of the most least likely type of components you really want to upgrade in a PC anyway. When you do, you're not going to notice a spectacular difference. You'll get some more capacity, you might get some improvements. It's not going to be drastic like if you're upgrading the GPU. In fact, I would much rather spend an extra $100 instead of paying for this CL30 6000 megahertz of 64 gigabytes. I could go ahead and just buy a MSI Shadow RTX 5080 for just $100 more, and that would be a much better upgrade than getting this RAM, because at least that's $100 more and a much more beneficial upgrade compared to something like this. So that same kit was, that's what I mean, it's just insane. So I got a shout out to LSG, Takuma, Wasabi, all our main guys, Eric, the tech guy, and Genomorphing, all our supporters. Make sure you check out our roundtable. Please join us. It would be great. And I'm telling you, it's not that bad of a deal. I promise it's not nowhere near the pricing that Xbox Game Pass will charge you. So the 5060 is the cheap out version of the 5000 range. Yes. So basically, I got a friend working in a company that sells workstation solutions. He offered to sell me an Outlet ADA5000. That's actually really, for how much did he offer? It basically had one broken port, and the fan seemed to work, but the other, it's functional plus a few scratches. Here's the thing. Do you think I can find an empty cooler and flip it? Absolutely, they do have coolers for these. But the thing is, if you're going to find a cooler for something like this, it's probably going to be better if you look on somewhere like eBay. I bet eBay would have a much more fair price when it comes to a cooler. Now, you can always buy one of those, like, you could always get like one of those like aftermarket water coolers and put it onto the GPU if you'd like. And if you do that, that can be quite the upgrade, but then the PC has to be water cooled in order for you to actually install it. I would definitely recommend more of a blower style where most people have a workstation for that. Let me increase that size for you vertical guys. I know that's probably really super tiny for you guys to see, and I apologize for that. I'm going to fix that as soon as I select the next featured chat here. So Dreamville is currently using the Ryzen 4070. Yes, wonderful. Let me know how far you get with that Ryzen 4070. Do you also have a, I'm assuming you probably have a Intel 9070 XT with that? That's what I assume you have, Dreamville? All right, so getting back to the subject here, I gotta say, like, when it comes to RAM, it's quite expensive. And if you're able to find some RAM for a decent deal, matter of fact, maybe if you know somebody that actually has some extra capacity that just has it around and they just need to get rid of it, take advantage of that deal, because it's not going to be easy, especially this holiday season. It's only going to get more hard as it is. So if anyone's trying to sit out on Black Friday for RAM deals, I hate to break it to you, it's more than likely not going to happen the way that everybody thinks it is. Now, some people theoretically think that what would happen is that if the RAM does end up going on sale on Black Friday, they'll go back to normal pricing. And then from there, everything's going to be all good. But unfortunately, it does not look that way. And this is all because of the supply. The supply and demand, especially when it comes to these AI servers, it is much more in demand. So how long do I have to wait to build a Threadripper? You know what? I gotta tell you, LSG, I was really thinking of doing this Threadripper build within the next year, because my Threadripper PC is pretty much aging. And if anybody got to see that video, anybody has a Asus ROG Xbox Ally X, if you need help installing Bakelite, I actually just dropped that video this morning. Would greatly appreciate it if you take a watch at it, and hopefully you liked the video. If you do have the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X, you can certainly install Bakelite or SteamOS. But anyway, the point is, because when I was encoding that video, when I was working and editing that video, I kind of was trying to hurry up and make sure everything was put together correctly, at least so everybody knows exactly how to install Bazite on their Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. Fortunately, when I was encoding the video, my PC nearly shut off about like 3 to 4 times. Now, it's more than likely from what I'm suspecting is either the codecs, which I will be testing soon or later, and when I do, I'm going to see if that's the exact issue for it, or I believe that the GPU could actually be going in it, which is the RTX 3080 Ti, which honestly isn't a big surprise to me. I mean, I really abuse this thing. I've used this Threadripper to create content for as long as I was on YouTube practically. So I'm not surprised that's going out. And if it is, then obviously it's going to need an upgrade. And I also thought about upgrading other components, such as the RAM, the cooler, and even changing out the case. And then at that point, I'm like, man, why do I gotta upgrade this old ass PC? Instead, let's go ahead and just do a brand new Threadripper build. But looking at the case right now, looking at the pricing for a Threadripper build today, I don't think I'm going to pull that through very successfully unless I get some help from some brands. That's the only way I'm going to be able to pull that off. Because the Threadripper, if anybody knows, or anybody knows out there how much a price of a Threadripper can really cost, you can get a decent Threadripper processor brand new. You don't have to get the Pro version, but just get the regular Threadripper version for like about 3,000, 4,000 max for the top tier one. But what's going to really kill anybody when doing a build such as this is going to be the cost of the RAM. And then especially when you add in the GPU, just those 3 components is just going to be very costly to do a Threadripper build. So also to note, Ryzen 7000 can run 128 max, while Ryzen 9000 can only do up to 192. So the 256 gigabyte RAM giveaway would only be useful. That is true, unless that where you're doing a Threadripper build. That's the only time it would be useful. Technically, this PC I have, even though it's Zen 2, believe it or not, it can go up to 256 gigabytes of RAM. But the only problem with that is it's DDR4, and it's going to be quite expensive to upgrade it more than what it is. Originally, I was going to actually purchase more DDR4. I was going to purchase up to about 128 gigabytes, at least. Because currently, what I have in this build right now is about 64 gigabytes. It's the very one I'm actually streaming on now. So now I'm thinking I don't even want to really waste money on RAM if I'm going to end up go ahead and do this Threadripper build eventually, because then it's just a waste. I can honestly see just getting the 5080, because at least I could transfer that over to the new Threadripper build eventually when, and hopefully if RAM goes down in price, because next thing you know, you're going to see RAM's going to get wild, because you're going to start seeing people start dealing RAM on the streets. So in order for you to get some good RAM, you got to go out there on the corner to try to get some RAM. So also to note, Ryzen 7000, I just read that, Rugal. I just want a good enough PC to play Battlefield 6. I got you, Flatus Uncle. I know you want to play Battlefield 6. Luckily, it does not have really hefty requirements to play it. Now, if you want to play Battlefield 6, you don't need a crazy PC build. All you need, the most important thing you do have to need when it comes to a build like this is at least TPM 2.0. So I usually suggest anyone that is building a PC that you build a PC that's within the AM5 or within Intel's 1700, which is Raptor Lakes, or you can even go ahead and do what is it? Not Common Lake, the other one, the 15th gen, the one that is most forgotten about. You could use that too as well. 265K is certainly a good processor. 285K is a bit overkill for a lot of people out there, especially if you're not going to take advantage of it. If you're not like a Photoshop or you're not a editing type of guy, the 285K honestly wouldn't be worth the extra money. 265K would honestly be worth it if you're going Intel. And for AM5, just find a budget for a decent processor. But the most important thing to have when it comes to Battlefield 6 is obviously going to be the GPU. I don't recommend anybody cheaping out when it comes to GPUs. At least get 16 gigabytes because then that'll be worth it. Do you still have your 4090? That would be a good card to put in that build. You know what? I actually just got rid of that build. Originally, that was the build with the 7950X 3D. And with that build, I actually ended up selling that build. And currently, I just have the two builds currently. Originally, my studio was packed full of PCs. I had like I think it was like 4 PCs. And I got rid of at least 2 of them. It was way too many. I had one friend up in New York that needed a new PC. Shout out to Leland if he's watching. But anyway, I sent him out a new PC. He obviously needed it. He was still running on Ryzen's 3000 processors. So, and apparently he did not have TPM 2.0. He was a big fan of Battlefield. So that was the main reason why he needed to upgrade his PC, was because of it. But that would be a great idea. I don't mind getting a RTX 4090 once again if I have to. And I would imagine the pricing for the RTX 4090 is probably still quite expensive, even in the used market. But it's worth it just because you will have the VRAM. What the scary part is the fact that it's just not going to... I don't think these 50 series cards are going to be coming out anytime soon. I think they're going to be delayed for quite a bit, unfortunately, for anybody that is looking for the Super Series of the 50 series. And it sounds like they're actually going to start cutting back on even production of the regular standard 50 series, and the same when it comes to AMD's 9000 series GPUs. So if anybody needs a GPU, I really highly advise anybody out there that does need a GPU, go ahead and definitely put one onto your list. In fact, originally on my plans here, as LSG says, Ryzen 5 7600X and 7600 XT, B650, 500 watt PSU for all you. Yeah, so you don't honestly really need a ton for a Battlefield 6 build. Honestly, it runs really well on like even a lower end system. Like I had the Xbox Ally X right behind me, and it was able to run Battlefield 6 perfectly fine, even up to it was like 120 frames it could run on there. Even on the Lenovo Legion Go 2, it was able to run up past 144 hertz easily. So, but the thing is, when it comes to those devices, it really heavily relies on things like frame generation in order for you to take advantage of it. But take LSG's example. He's the perfect guy to go to and ask for subjects just like this. Now, if anybody is just coming in and you're unfamiliar with who I am, I'm Chris Mizo. I talk about PC and tech. I will also game every once in a while. We have a ton of fun talking on Discord. Make sure you check out our Discord channel. It's down in the description box down below. I'm kind of scared to open up StreamBot. If I open up StreamBot, I hope it doesn't start spamming the channel here. But I want to post the Discord link for you guys just in case. So David Harewood says, looking to upgrade my GPU from a 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes to the 5060 Ti or the 5070 12 gigabytes. Honestly, David, if here's the hard truth I'm going to have to tell you. Don't go for 5060 Ti. Go for the 5070 Ti. That is going to be much more worth it because honestly, it's going to be a big waste of money if you go to 5060 Ti. In fact, you're not going to see much of an increase at all if you choose that direction. Believe me, you want to go that way. You want to go with a 5070 Ti with at least 16 gigabytes. It'll be worth it. And again, the price to performance is much better than it was about 3 months ago. You can actually get a RTX 5070 Ti for under MSRP now. So that makes it much more justifiable to currently buy something like a RTX 5070 Ti. In fact, let's go to Micro Center and take a look at one. So for example, you want to take a look. I'm not too sure what your budget is currently, But again, I highly recommend it because you won't regret it, especially if you're in need of a GPU. So, and it sounds like you're trying to, I'm assuming you're trying to pull more frames out your PC. What type of monitor do you have and everything, by the way? So let's take a look here. We're going to go to the browser here. Would 1,000-watt be enough for David's build? Now, for 1,000 watts, it certainly should be. 1,000 watts is definitely like the standard nowadays. But when it comes to, like, if you're going, say, to the RTX 5090 series, then anything that's 5090, I highly suggest 1,000 watts would be the minimum. 1,200 watts is like the new standard for when it comes to the high-end card. The only one that sits up there that high-end is going to be the 5090. But 1,000 watts would be the most standard one to go to into any type of PC build. So we're going to go to the browser real quick so we can take a look with you guys. So if you take a look on the browser here, you're going to see a PNY, which is something I don't recommend. But I mean, if you get it for a good deal, why not? Okay. Let's see, PNY NVIDIA $729.99, not too bad. Gigabyte is more of the one I would highly recommend. Gigabyte's a decent one, and Zotac, not bad. But I usually don't recommend going to PNY if you don't have to. Now take a look here. You can even trade in your GPU if you want to, in order for you to get this upgrade. Now you can now obviously you can get a decent deal. 750 is actually really good, because originally the RTX 5070 Ti's, if you remember when they originally were trying to sell them, especially when they were starting to get like more released and how they were more available, especially I think it was like about the summer, I would say. Around the summer of 2025, they would be about $1,000 for something like this, a little bit over 1,000. Now they're about 750. This is where they should be. This is the regular pricing for a RTX 5070 Ti. This would be worth getting. If you even take a look at, MSI's. This one is the gaming trio. This one's like more of an overclock edition one. RGB is a little bit more fancier. But it's not going to be quite a dramatic difference between the two. But if you take a look between these GPUs, again, it's still way under $1,000. Again, originally they were trying to charge over $1,000 for these GPUs as it is. So for anybody that's currently waiting on Black Friday deals and waiting on GPU pricing, I would highly suggest go ahead and take a look now, because every type of competitor out there, whether it's Micro Center, Newegg, Amazon, they're all going to try to compete in pricing. So more than likely, some of the best pricing you can actually get today, even though you might be waiting for Black Friday for a specific deal. But do you really want to take the risk of losing out on a deal over $50, just say? Maybe it's $50 cheaper, but do you want to really miss out on a GPU you could have had? And then say they sell out very well. Maybe they sell all these 50 series GPUs, even sell the AMD RX 9000 series GPUs. They just sell them out, right? So by the time, say January comes around, it's the new year. And guess what's going to happen? Then you're going to see that price increase just because you tried to save $50 on a GPU. So if anybody does need a GPU, I highly stress about getting it, because I have to remind everybody about the pricing when it comes to Corsair. Even if you look at Micro Center, here is what I'm talking about here. You take a look at the bundles, and everybody knows about how well they bundle all the deals when it comes to Micro Center. Like, we could take a look at this AMD bundle here. $219.99. Great deal, right? But again, they're not bundled with RAM anymore, and that's for a reason. Now, they're saying you can purchase RAM on the side of it. If you purchase the bundle, you can also get the RAM with it for $210. So they give you the SKU, and that's it. So we could look up the SKU and see if they're going to honor it. It makes me curious. It makes me want to go to Micro Center, show them the SKU, and get the bundle and just see if they really honor it. Because at that point, honestly, it should be a better deal if you just get the whole set together. Now, this is $220, not a bad deal. It just doesn't have any RGBs. This is a cache latency of 36, CL36, and it is DDR5 6000 megahertz. The insane part is, it seems that Micro Center, watch this, I'm going to type this in, and you might be shocked because it just seems like they don't have any in stock. Like, I'll just type Corsair 6000 megahertz, nothing, right? So it sounds like either Corsair told them, because we went to Corsair's website to see the pricing, and when we took a look right here on Micro Center, it just doesn't exist. Maybe Micro Center didn't agree with Corsair's pricing. That is insane. I'm surprised it's that much. So Ellis says, "What's up, bro? I got a pretty unique problem, and I was wondering if you got something similar. So you can give me some advice, but if you're busy right now, no." Okay, go ahead. Feel free. Shoot your question here. I would love to know. Thanks for Thanks for subscribing, Philly Reaper. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining in. So feel free to ask your question here. Would love to know. Again, RAM is going to be expensive, and unfortunately, it's going to be a while. And here is a really interesting thing for anybody out there who's run into a broken card. You're going to find this a bit interesting here, and I'm going to look it up here, because if anybody has seen any GPU sag before when it comes to a PC, maybe it was roughed around in a move or something, and then all of a sudden you hear a snap, and you know what the worst possible case could be, especially when it comes from a card that is sitting horizontally, right? It doesn't really have all the weights really in those gold fingers in that bus, right? And plus, if that support bracket is holding properly there, they should start form of the cheapest RAM deals. They should. I mean, they should have like RAM kits, cheapdeals.com or something, and that way you can find some better RAM pricing. Now, I can certainly show you what the pricing is looking like on PC Parts Pickers, because they follow the tracking when it comes to the RAM stock, and I'll show you. I can certainly share the link with everybody else who is trying to follow the market for the RAM pricing anyway. But this is what I really wanted to show you guys. So the worst case scenario, I'm sure you've heard cases where the gold fingers are completely snapped off, irreparable, because once you have that issue, more than likely that it's gone. That card's gone at that point. There's no way you can really truly repair that, right? But here is the interesting thing here, and I actually saw this today on Twitter here, and here it is. This is what I got to show you guys. Now, what happened was somebody ended up breaking one of their cards. Very similar story. They broke their cards, and they broke it on something like the RTX 6000. If you guys are not familiar with the RTX 6000, it's one of the more expensive GPUs that you can really get. It's not a gamer's card. This is a card for those who are interested in building LLMs, or those who are more using their PC for workstation usage. Now, they broke their gold fingers, and believe it or not, they actually had a fix for this. So I'm going to share this with you guys, which you're going to find pretty unbelievable. So take a look at this. On Tom's Hardware, they shared this, the PCI Express gold fingers. They sell it for under $25, and it looks like it kind of you just solder it in practically. Yeah, isn't that insane? So there is a possible way to fix these cards currently. So that just gives you indication. Are we going to get to that point to where we're no longer going to, like, we're so used to being a society to where we're just used to replacing things. We're used to just, if something's broken, you just replace it. That's just how it is. That's just how society's gotten. But we're almost going back. We're reverting back to that age to where we're able to repair things once again. Maybe we could start repairing these GPUs once again. So it seems that we're going towards a way to fix things now. No longer just replacing it, because now it seems that it's more harder to get parts than what it is. And I wouldn't be surprised within a week from now, maybe even 2 weeks from now, that we'll see that there's going to be ways to repair RAM. And it's just going to get to that point to where, because the availability is so scarce now, that, especially because AI requires so much of it, especially when it comes to RAM, it's certainly going to hold an issue, especially for years to come. Because it's not going to stop. It's not just going to magically stop. They're trying to make it better. They're trying to improve themselves. Like, for example, ChatGPT is on version 5.1. So it's going to push itself to eventually to 6, and it's going to require more firepower. And in order to do that, you're going to require more system resources. So that's why it's not going to diminish so easy, especially for the need of AI today. So honestly, I'm disappointed with the 7500 X3D. Basically just the 7600 X3D with a 200 megahertz less clock. I would have loved something like the 7600 G3D or the 7800 G3D. Maybe at least it would have been be nice for ultra SFF work PCs. Yeah, you know what? It would have been a great variation for that. That's something AMD should certainly think about, especially because they come out with so many different processors and many different solutions depending on what you need the PC for. And this would actually be a great idea for AMD to do, especially because, you know what, Rugal, though? I can certainly say maybe they are thinking that direction once they go to the 9000G. Because once they go 9000G, maybe they will have some sort of difference or variation. Because AMD already had stated that there is going to be quite an upgrade once they go to this. They didn't really give it an official name quite yet. But once it goes to like Ryzen 10,000 series, just say if it is 10,000 series, that there is going to be similar architecture in there that's going to be set for something like AM6. So it's going to probably have some sort of advancements then. But again, we will find out through time, especially once we go to CES 2026. Now, if anybody's just coming in, I'm Chris Mizo. We talk about PC and tech. And you feel free, if you have any questions about your PC builds or if you're trying to upgrade your PC, feel free to let me know. Would love to know if you have any issues. This is an open chat. I talk to everybody out there. And you can also, if you do like what you hear, make sure you don't forget to like, subscribe, and also follow. So, Elsa says, on the 3060, it stopped by a window, green vertical lines appeared all over my screen. The odd thing is, it sounds like an obvious hardware problem, but it'll work for 20. Now, when these green vertical lines appear, that's a great question for anybody that does want to know some issue like that. Let me fix that for everyone to see there. But, of course I moved myself. So, my fault, vertical chat. I'm just trying to fix this. So, of course it's in the... I probably moved it. I gotta lock myself. That's what I gotta do. So if you're running into vertical lines, I have to ask you, where is it exactly happening here? When is it exactly happening? Is it during a task? Is it during gaming? Or is it during, or is it, I can't help but laugh at something like that. But anyway, did it happen during gaming? Did it happen during some sort of editing? Or is it just when you're using your desktop? But the first thing anybody should check when you see something like this is going to check your HDMI cable or check your DisplayPort cable, because more than likely that could be an issue here. It also caused my NVIDIA drivers to freak out. Okay, so it did this too. Fooled, wiped out Windows, reseated my GPU, changed the PCI Express cable, and it's a brand new gigabyte card. Okay, so so from what it sounds like, what's the... I gotta know. So is this on the desktop itself, or is it a very specific task? So it could just be the program itself, because sometimes that could be the case depending on what it is. Also, add a bit more context in it. Let me know exactly what's happening here, and then I can help you the best way I can here. They provide any piece North Ridge fix for him or not. Let's see. Why do you think they released the 7500 X3D? Generally, Intel's sworn duty is just to release downgrades. You know, I gotta say, it's some of the releases that they do. whether it's Intel or AMD is very questionable. I've seen Intel start releasing their old processors once again, like from the Intel 1151 processors, or was it the 1155? I think no, 1151 it was. They're still releasing some processors for some really weird reason. I don't know if they're trying to go like some weird cyberpunk type of world to where we're gonna all end up using like retro PCs, but some of these cases I just can't really explain. Just that mostly that there is some sort of weird demand for it. Now I can say like for certain countries out there, like if you're in Brazil, it's a lot more limited when it comes to PC hardware because of how expensive the import taxes are when it comes to it. So like certain countries I could see, but to do a full-on release like is just weird when it comes to certain hardware. So random question, but why can't we cheap out and use an Xbox or PS CPU? It's just not going to fit. I mean, technically you could pull it out. You would have to get the motherboard like out of it. You would have to kind of transfer the whole case. There's not really a way for you to make it work. Now you can build a PC similar to it. Like for example, if you're modeling after like a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, you're going to have to get like the closest one to it would be like a 6800 XT. So you would get a graphics card like that. The CPU would be something more like maybe like the 30. You might get something like the 3800X or something with it. Like you would do a build around it, but you can't quite take out the SoC that's really in it. Now they do have like more of a custom board there. Like everything's really custom when it comes to a console anyway. So in order for you to really take advantage of it, you could only kind of transfer everything. That's the best way to do it. Transfer it to a different case. You can improve the cooling. You could get better frames and everything because of that. But it's just not going to be truly a way for you to put it onto like a ATX motherboard. So, welcome Raphael Swinkles. Welcome to the live. I appreciate you. Yeah, right now we're just talking about PC hardware. We're just trying to figure out an issue that Asus has. It's just in general can be at the desktop, but after a while turned off, it'll work. But if just restart, it'll stay like that. Okay, so have you tried with the cable yet? Because more than likely it has to be, I feel like it has something to do with your cable from what you're describing. It's more cable like DisplayPort, where it's going to be your HDMI cable, or and also another suggestion I would give a shot is also try to hook it up to like a different display. Don't hook it up to just the monitor that you have it on and see if it replicates the same way. If it does, the only other issue, I don't want to get that far into it, but I'm assuming those are the case. Try that first before you proceed to other steps, because that's more than likely the case. It's going to be either the cable, DisplayPort cable, HDMI cable, or there's an issue with the monitor, how it's receiving your GPU. So I was browsing for new monitors and I saw labeled as 2XQ HD. So how does that work if two monitors and one, or yeah, you know what? When it comes to something like that, I'm assuming it's going to be multiple monitors that you can do it with. Now it's not going to be in one. So I've swapped the HDMI cable and it works on my PS5. I was going to slot my old P5500 XT and see what happens. Okay, go ahead and do that then. Have you tried the PS5? I wouldn't try the PS5, but I would try the PC onto a different display. Try that first. So if the HDMI cable is working, it seems to work. But that's, again, it's only through a PS5, so it's a little bit different how it receives the feed compared to something like a PS5. It's much better to do it through a PC because then because it's going to require a bit more. And what is the GPU, by the way? You said it's a brand new GPU that you installed. What GPU did you install that was giving you this issue, just out of curiosity here? So going back to the topic, like originally when it came to PC hardware, if anybody doesn't know out there and you are in need of a new GPU, I highly recommend to upgrade. And I usually suggest people don't wait till Black Friday to get the deals. It's going to be a lot harder to get a GPU then. So if you need a brand new GPU, I highly suggest getting it, because then otherwise you're going to regret it later, because you don't want to save, say, 50 bucks on one GPU where it ends up selling out, and then you end up getting caught when they start raising the prices of GPUs. And you might ask, raise prices? Why raise prices? And that's a great question. It's all thanks to RAM. And if you're asking why RAM has any part to do with it, it's because GPUs require VRAM. And this is the main reason why you're going to see a price increase. In fact, here goes a perfect post I can share with you guys here. And this is actually by PowerColor themselves. PowerColor is a maker of AMD, if you're unfamiliar with them. And this is exactly what they said here on Reddit. And they said, wait until Sunday for discounts to all kick in. So he's given an indication, wait for Sunday, you get a better deal. Buy before the last week, before the year, before prices kick up. There it is. So expect the pricing to go up. In case the hint wasn't clear, in my US promotion schedule, it's already been locked that pricing will go up. So edit 2, this message isn't for people who are not planning to get a GPU. It is for people who already been or plan messaging me for advice if I should buy now because of current market conditions. There is a reason why I post it here instead of spamming a bigger subreddit. So there you go. That's your answer. So you will expect cheaper prices, but expect the pricing to certainly go up by January. And this is just by PowerColor. And believe it or not, he wasn't the only person that actually also mentioned this. There was also another post that also stated from AMD themselves saying we're going to have to raise pricing. So once you hear AMD going to have to raise pricing, what do you think the competition's going to do? You know for sure that NVIDIA is also going to be one of the people that will also be raising their prices when it comes to their RTX 5080s, 5090s. You think it's expensive as it is now. You refuse to purchase it because you think they're going to go back down. I hate to break it to everyone out there. They're never going to go back down back to 2016 prices. It's just not going to happen. It's always going to go up in price, and things never go down. And when they do go down, it's only temporary. So take the window for anybody that does need a GPU, get it at the time you can. Because if you need that GPU and you're starting to see the problems like Asus here, like where you're starting to see these vertical green lines or your monitors like switching colors, specifically artifacting when you're gaming, that is a indication that you need to change out your GPU. You might be able to get away with it for a little bit, but it's a good indication that your GPU could also be going. So make sure to get a GPU if you need it, because I don't want anybody out there to end up getting ripped off and purchasing a RTX 5080 where you could have purchased it today for less than $1,000. Now, if you purchase a RTX 5080 within the next year, do you want to really pay $3,000 for a RTX 5080 you could have got today for $1,000? So don't wait till the last minute. And once it gets expensive, you know how it works with GPUs. They all sell out for some weird reason. People start to hoard them. People start to try to flip them. They do anything they can when they have when it's a hot commodity. You know what? It makes me really curious to see what the used market looks like when it comes to used RAM, because you know for a fact it's going to be quite expensive. In fact, if you just don't know, if you think I'm kidding, this is on official Corsair website here. We're going to go on Corsair's website right here, and we're going to go take a look at RAM. And you might think, oh no, it's just gonna go down. This is just all talk. I promise you, if you see this, you'll realize just how bad it is. So we're looking at RAM here. Let's say you don't even have to get the crazy bundle here. You just want to go to the Vengeance. That's a 96 gigabytes. That's a lot. We obviously don't want to go there. Maybe we look for something a bit cheaper. Maybe we go 5200, right? 5200 megahertz is a decent price. It should be. And most people have AMD, so we'll go ahead and take a look at AMD. So we're gonna go click into AMD, and there it is, $441. See, I wasn't kidding. And that's for, again, that's this 32 gigabyte bundle here, the 32 gigabyte pair for 6,000 mega transfers for CL30 RAM. But at least you got AMD Expo. You got AMD Expo, and you get the Intel XMP in it. So at least that's good news. $441. Now, if you don't know what the original price for what this RAM set should originally be, it's nowhere near this price. In fact, you could originally purchase this same exact kit for about $200. It was not that much. It wasn't really that expensive. In fact, it was even cheaper. My fault. It was actually 140 and 150, around that range. But now it's $441.99. Now take a look at this. Now you think that's bad. If you take a look at, say, let's say we go into something, let's go back here. We're going to take a look at this. We're going to examine this a bit closely. Let's say we go a Dominator Platinum. Let's go Intel. And just to get an idea of what that looks like there. So we go Intel, $469. Still expensive. Again, 6,000 mega transfers. Okay, so and that's CL40. No, that's CL30. Okay, CL30. Let's go 64 gigabyte kit. And this is where it gets insane. They didn't even list the price. That's crazy. This time they decided not to list the price. CL30. There you go. CL30. 6,000 mega transfers for $938.99. So that just tells you right then and there just how expensive RAM is getting. So I was not kidding when it came to the prices there. And this is official Corsair's website right there. You see it? That is on Corsair's website. That's how you know it's bad. So if you're in need of RAM, and I hate to break it to you, you're in a really bad situation for the RAM side. But at least I can forewarn everybody out there who needs a video card. You can get a video card now for nearly the same price. You can get an RTX 5080 for nearly the same price as these Corsair Dominators. If you think I'm kidding here, we'll go to Micro Center here and I'll show you. We'll look up a RTX 5080 here, and we can definitely find it for a better deal. Now let's take a look at RTX 5080. There. You can get, it's actually, yeah, $1,000. $1,000 for this Gigabyte NVIDIA RTX 5080. And that's nearly the same price as the RAM. So that just goes and tells you, what would you prefer? Would you prefer this? Would you prefer a RTX 5080, or would you prefer getting the RAM set? Do you want me to show you the RAM set again? Look, $999, right? For this 5080 WindForce. Much better upgrade. You can get better graphics. You can get better details, I should say. Not better graphics, but better details when you see the game. You can also game in a much higher refresh rate. You can get up to 4K, right? So now if you go back and you look at the same comparison for, say, the RAM kit we just looked at, you're not going to get that much of an upgrade when you go to this, where it's $938.99. Now, you just have to spend $60 more and you get a much better upgrade compared to something like this. This is nowhere near worth of what it should be. In fact, this very same kit should it should be actually closer to like 200 range maybe at the most. And we can take a look right here on PC Parts Picker, and it'll actually show you exactly how inflated the prices are. And they just constantly go up. It's just not going down at all. So you think just 2 weeks ago, it was at half of that price, this same exact kit. So now it's actually tripled up in price for this same type of processor. I mean, same type of RAM. Oh, I'm sorry, chat. I didn't realize. So, Peg, Alex, hi, I'm picking parts for a new premium. I apologize, chat. The script, for some reason, the chat wasn't scrolling. Hi, I pick out parts for the premium PC, looking for DDR5, 6,000 X870E or is Pro and the Ryzen 7 9800X3D. Preferably, I would like minimal cast latency. Having trouble finding a QVL list. Okay, so, you got an X870E. Now, anything with that RAM kit, you can get, I'm telling you, CL36 is certainly good enough to get. As I forewarned everybody, the best thing I found, we'll go on Newegg, the best thing I found was Crucial. Crucial, what was it? Not now. We'll go on Black Friday deals too. When that day comes, we'll definitely take a look. And I'll have some videos up on it. But Crucial CL36, you can get a decent deal. Let's hope they got it in stock now. We'll apply it. And it seems like they've been buying a lot of the dual sets here. Now, for example, this will work perfectly fine. CL38. It's something to certainly get by. Crucial's Pro overclocking 32 gigabytes. Now you get up to 6400 megahertz. You can always change it in the BIOS. So you don't have to keep it at 6400 megahertz. You can actually adjust it. And in fact, get it to go a bit faster if you get this Crucial Pro overclocking. And again, that's at 272.99. That's like more of a better deal, I can say. The other ones that are going up a lot in price is Patriot for some weird reason. Crucial, and the other one I could highly recommend, I think Kingston was pretty decent. I forget if Kingston went up too. Let me see, Kingston. We'll try. We'll take a look at Kingston to see if we can find. I learned about it. Oh, awesome. Okay, so I looked at labeled 49. Oh, okay. Maybe, you know what it is? Maybe it has dual resolution. That's a very common thing now, Rugel. So Kingston Fury B, 16 gigabytes. No. That's expensive. Yeah, they're up. They're up in price. Forget Kingston. So if anybody's looking at RAM, hint, go to Crucial. Look at Crucial. They're definitely, it's a great maker. They make great RAM. Team Group's a decent one too. Those two are a bit underrated and not as much people are looking at them as much. So if you do have to get RAM, I highly recommend going that route. So is there really that much of a difference between a 9070 XT GPU as long as I buy a name brand? No, not really. As long as if you certainly purchase, like say Sapphire, ASRock, they're all great brands. Honestly, all the brands out there have been decent. I haven't heard anything really negative, to be honest, like when it comes to that side. 97, just don't buy from anything really sketchy, like a brand you've never heard of. There's a couple offset brands you might not want to purchase from, but most of the time they're usually good to get away with. Now LSG says 5080, but I'm a little biased. Hey, I'm a bit biased too. If I could get a better upgrade for $1,000, I'm going that direction. Try XPG. That's a good choice. Let's try what Rugel says. We'll try the XPG here. That's definitely a great option. XPG Lancer Silver. Nice. Okay, now I know where this is headed. I'm not liking where this is headed. Okay, Newegg just doesn't have it. We'll Google it. How about that? Here we go. Amazon. Woo! $500. But that's insane. That's just one stick. Maybe this fits in the graphics card slot. Maybe it fits in the PCI Express lane. What do you guys think? Instead of getting a GPU, you might as well get this and try to stick it in there. Maybe it'll be able to have enough power to run a Black Ops 7. How about that? How about that whole that debacle with Black Ops 7? I gotta say, Pagman, what's up, Ernesto? We were just talking about you, bro. Sorry, but I live in Europe. G-Skill, Corsair, and Kingston. I feel so bad for you, Pagman. G-Skill, go G-Skill. They're definitely the better ones to go if you're in that direction there. DDR5 Crucial 32 gigabyte kit Pro. There you go. Kyrian did it. Kyrian made the right move. He heard us out in the prior lives. I gotta say, if definitely if you see a RAM kit that is low, priced lower than average, I'm telling you, look in the weird spots. Maybe in the weird areas like Walmart. For some reason, Walmart is kind of a little slow sometimes, like when it comes to picking up things. And if you're lucky, you have a PC section in one of your Walmarts. And if you do, or any other store that's similar to like a Walmart in any other country, just say, and you want to go inside that store and see if they have some RAM kits. If they have them for a good deal, you might as well try to snag them. You might be able to get a reasonable price for RAM. Going to need a mortgage to just buy RAM at this point. I'm telling you, like, it's pretty bad. Damn, I lived in Turkey for a while, and even they had XPG and Team, which area of Europe do you... Oh, wow. Like DDR5 5600 CL30, yes. That's a more common one. Everyone's going for CL30 because that's a lower latency. You know what's crazy? I really, really wish I would have just went ahead and get the CL26 when they started releasing it earlier this year. Remember that? Remember when G-Skill started dropping it around February? And they came out with CL26, where it's up to 6400 megahertz, where you could get 6000 megahertz, and you still can get access to the Infinity, into the Infinity cache, which obviously everybody does want. So just imagine just getting that now. Like, how expensive is that same exact RAM kit that G-Skill currently has? It's going to be quite crazy expensive. So like DDR5 5600 CL30 30, okay. Lexar, that's a good point. Let's look up Lexar RAM. Gen 2, there you go. 32 gigabyte kit. This didn't help any. But at least it's CL26. That's a better offering than what Corsair had to offer us, at least. Because Corsair was just crazy expensive and crazy high. And now if anybody's just joining in, I'm Chris Mizo. We talk about PC hardware and tech. You can feel free to ask any questions. I do talk to the chat, so you can feel free to ask any questions if you have any problems with your PCs, or if you're in the middle of building a PC and you're stuck somewhere and you need some advice, you can feel free to ask. You can also ask in Discord if you do not want to ask publicly. I do get it. I want to open up my streamer bot, but I'm afraid it's going to go quite crazy. Let's give it a shot. I just hope it doesn't go crazy on us. If it does, I'm going to have to shut it down again. Okay, streamer bot, here we go. Hopefully your command is completely off now. Let's see. Yes, I deleted the command. Let's go into... Now I just got to get... Alright, so I'm going to post a link for anybody who wants to join our Discord channel. Again, it's free for anybody to join. Also, if you want to join the roundtable, feel free. It's open for... Oh no. That scared me for a minute. Anyway, bye for now. I wish a good stream. Thank you, Rugal. Thank you for joining in. I do appreciate you coming in I do appreciate your participation as always. And here is the Discord channel. I'm stuck on the CPU. It won't get here fast enough. Oh man, that's like the worst thing. One of the most critical components where you cannot do anything without is the CPU. I would highly suggest to just hold off a bit. I know that's not. I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but I can't wait for your build. You're almost there. You're not that far off. I usually install the CPU like right before I put the motherboard in, but being anxious, I could understand. Like, just install everything. You even have the CPU cooler sitting in the side. It's pretty hilarious. I got to share it. I'll share it with the chat. In fact, I'll share it with everybody. It's on our Discord. You can check it out. In fact, I will share it with the chat because I'll show you just how far he ended up getting. This is how close he is to getting to his PC build. Do you use a 50? No, not in the stream build. Actually, in the stream build, I use a RTX 3080 Ti. Pretty old GPU, but it's working so far. Sorry Officer says, part 1, hypothetical question. Let's say I have a motherboard that will allow two-way crossfire. The Radeon can be held for $150 if... not worth... Honestly, it's not worth it. unless you're trying to like use one for streaming or something. Let me see. Let me share with you guys on Discord. Um, right here, this is what I want to share. This is how far he got with his build, and you can see it's just sitting there. He actually even did a flashback with his BIOS, so he's really close. And this is all LSG here. He has a really nice build, and look, that's all he needs. Everything's all set and ready to go there. How much RAM is the stream building consuming average? So actually, that's a great question here. So on this PC, this is DDR4 still actually. So this is on a Threadripper build. Most of the encoding is going to actually go through the GPU most of the time. But if you're curious about exactly how much RAM usage is being used up, I'll tell you exactly what it is currently. Now, currently for this stream, it's not really using as much. It's using about, let's say, only about like not even a gigabyte in OBS. When it comes to like StreamerBot, that's actually using a bit more resources. That's using about 1 gigabyte, so you can estimate 1.7. And then with Firefox, with all their tabs open, that's another 3. So roughly about like 6 or 7 gigs about. And I got some unnecessary stuff that's open too. So it's not really too much RAM usage you have to worry about when it comes to streaming. It's more or so you got to worry about the encoders when it comes to the GPU. You got to hope that it is working properly. And that's the biggest issue when it comes to it. So, but yeah, that's how far LSG got into his build there. But just, so if anyone is out there and that really needs a GPU, again, highly suggest to get a GPU before it goes up, because that was the one warning I had to share with everybody out there, and that was from Power Color themselves. Also, AMD has also made a mention as well when it comes to oh, sure, there you go. So then back on topic, that was one warning when it came from Power Color themselves, a manufacturer of GPUs for AMD. And also, so that is why the 3080 Ti is working so well. Yes, that's part of the reason. The RX 580 on PC Parts Picker has 43 ratings with an average of 4.6. Yeah, I mean, that's actually the minimum requirement for Battlefield 6 is the RX 580. So you can actually get away with playing something like Battlefield 6 with the RX 580. So it's still a great GPU regardless. But that is certainly the minimum to go. Oh, wait. I just realized that. Apologize, chat. Where did the chat go there? Accidentally hit my chat. Apologize, guys. So this is random, but I got taught the lesson of cheaping out on PSU when I smelled something funny. I looked at oh. So yeah, this is the exact reason why you don't want to this is pretty serious business. So when you go for a PSU, you do not want to go for something cheap. Even though they claim, say, it has 1,000 watts, you don't want to go out with a cheap PSU. You don't want to purchase something that you've never heard of. Typically, that's never a great situation if that's the case. Now, the strongest PC components packaging, like out of all of them, actually CPUs probably have the best, I would think. Out of all of them, GPUs are relatively decent. I would say most of them are pretty well packed, like when it comes to components wise. I would say CPU, and then I would say GPU next. Every other component, like I'd say the roughest PC component packaging would be the cases. Because if you ever purchase a case like from any type of seller and you're not sure how their quality is, you could actually get a bent case. That's happened to me multiple times. I tried to order like Lee cases a few times. They all came with bent corners where that sucked. I ended up sending it back, and that was from Newegg. But luckily, like I never had issues when I came to ordering cases when it came from Amazon. They always came in great condition. But I feel like the case is the least component packaging. But CPUs are definitely one of the more secure components. Same with the GPU, they actually pack it really well. As soon as I saw that message, I had to. Yeah, you had to. Yeah, you had to. You know that's a bad sign. I don't know if it's me personally, but when I actually looked on microcenter.com, when I went on there, just from a week ago, I feel like their prices kind of increased slightly. Not a lot, like very minimal. Maybe like $5 or $10, maybe about that much, but not much. But at least they're still within that $1,000 range, which is good. RAM is also good too. RAM is decent. Certain SSD packaging is actually pretty decent too, depending where you get it from, because some of them actually have like a metal casing around it when you actually get their SSDs. A lot of PC components are actually packed well, but I would say the real question is like, what is the least packaged, or the least best PC component that's actually packaged? And out of all of them, I would certainly say the PC case for sure. I still have the PSU cable from the incident, and it's half melted. I have no money, so I had to unplug it for a few hours. And oh wow, that's insane. That's pretty brave and dangerous. Certainly dangerous to do that. I'm glad you're still here with us today, because I do not do that, anyone. Do not do that. Too bad. Where's our guy? Our guy that has the overclock PSU here. What's going on, ADX? Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. We were just talking about the pricing and the packaging of certain PC components. If anybody's just coming in, I'm Chris Mizo. I talk about PC hardware and tech, and you can feel free to ask any questions when it comes to PC builds, or if you have any issues, you can also feel free to ask, and we'll certainly do our best to figure it out. You can also feel free to join our free Discord if you want to ask. It is right here. And make sure to follow, like, and subscribe to the channel. Would certainly appreciate it. Hopefully that message popped up. I tried this whole gold thing on Twitch just to see if it comes up. I tried to put 10 subs on there. So I wonder if that's coming up on your guys' end, on the Twitch side. Hopefully you guys see it. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you do. I hope it's working. Not like my disaster when it came to StreamerBot. For everybody to update too, like if anybody was in my gaming stream, yes, we were. We actually were. We were ranting quite a bit about it because it just doesn't make sense. It's just like $880 for like 32 gigabytes of CL30, and then if you want the Dominator version, it's like $900. And what was it? 900, and I'll remember the exact number because 940, because you can nearly get a brand new GPU at a RTX 5080. It's literally not that far of a difference in pricing. I'm glad I only played Counter-Strike at the time because anything more intense. Oh geez, I'm pretty happy with the build. Actually, we are close to our 10K subscriber mark. If anybody doesn't know, or is just coming into our channel, we are very close to being there. I think we only need 60 more subscribers and we're there. And once we hit 10,000 subscribers, we're definitely going to have a streaming day. It's going to be practically a big studio tour. We're going to be playing games. It'll be a really fun day. Looking forward to it. It's a big milestone, especially for the channel. Oh, LSG. I think he, honestly, I think he got pissed off. And he ended up leaving our Discord. I would never pay even $1 or a cent. Their relationship is insane. Yeah, it obviously, yeah, it is. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But I gotta say, just don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow the channel. Would certainly appreciate it, guys. Anybody that's just coming in. And but we were just talking about the prices of RAM. They are quite insane. Power Collar, their manager, just practically warned everybody, hey, the GPUs are set in stone that the pricing is going up. So if you do need a GPU, I highly suggest to get it before the new year. That's when the pricing will go up after 2026. Another fun year of high prices, so to say. Also, everybody that was in the gaming stream, and hopefully this does work, I also changed some of the settings on the camera, so I don't have it on auto shut off anymore on high temperatures. So hopefully, hopefully it doesn't break the camera for me doing that. Like hopefully I don't end up messing up the sensor in the camera because of the high heat. But I did also end up getting a fan, like this cheap little 20mm fan that's on the back of this on the camera to help dissipate the heat. So hopefully in the gaming streams it doesn't start sweating as much. But I do notice quite the difference in temperature. Like if I'm not gaming on my PC, it's quite different. If I'm gaming on the PC, it gets quite hot. It does get hot. 9950X3D max temps, no overclocking. Okay, so if you're looking for the maximum temperature for the 9950X3D, it's going to be 95 degrees, I believe. That's a maximum before it starts to really thermal throttle there. So hi there. What is the best CPU and GPU on a budget I can buy now to play Arc Raiders? Is 5060 decent for gaming? You know, honestly, I hate when people ask about the 5060 because why do people look at the 5060? I know you're on a budget. I apologize for that, but the 5060 is not going to be a great card for anybody. If you are on a budget, I highly recommend just get a RX 9070 XT. It will certainly benefit you a lot better compared to a 5060. It's just going to disappoint you. You're going to cry over the 5060. It's honestly not the best. I don't know with 5060. But CPU side, you don't have to go crazy. You can honestly get away with something like a 9600 and you'll be good. Same thing if you could get like a 7500F, I think, for like a really cheap deal if you're like on a really strict budget. But do not really cheap out like a 5060 GPU because then it's just not going to perform as well. In fact, if we look at a 9070 XT, let's take a look at the pricing for it. For a 9070 XT here, yeah, 5070 would at least be better. If you really want an RTX card, go 5070 at the minimum because it's going to make the difference. At the 5060 is really honestly like a 50-50. That's what it's really like. It got me so... It's funny. It's so funny too because I was on the Micro Center website typing it in, and I accidentally put 5070 XT. I meant to put 9070 XT. All right, so let's go on the browsing side here, and if you go 9070 XT, there you go. You can get ASRock's AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT for $579. Very good deal, super good deal. That's an excellent deal. That's what you can certainly go with. That would be a great deal to go with. That would be a much better choice than getting a something like a 5060, because the 5060, I'm telling you, you're gonna be in disappointment. You're gonna want to throw your PC out the window. Only way I can explain the 8GB cards is higher memory bit speeds for each new generation. Oh, thank you, ADX. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you. I do appreciate everyone that is joining in. How much money would you do for RAM prices? Currently, you mean for now? For pricing, honestly, I kind of want to stay away from it. I feel like it's too insane. I mean, like, just looking at the prices, maybe I would spend $300 at the most if I really had to. 32 gigabytes, just the bare minimum here. 32 gigabytes. Oh, they actually do have Corsair. That was weird. And what? Take a look at that. When did this come in? That's a good deal, actually. After being on Corsair's website and seeing the prices, look, save $200. Save $230. Oh my God, this shouldn't even be anywhere near that price. We actually bought this earlier in the year. If you guys remember the 9070 XT build we did on the channel, we bought the same exact RAM kit for under $100. We actually got this for I think $100 even, in fact. And now they put $230 and they cross it off just like it's a big sale. Technically it is, because on Corsair's website they are charging that much. It's insane. So, hey Chris, can you explain why your in-person shorts have a odd camera? I can explain the reason why. That's because it's all cut up from my usual long format videos. So most of my long format, I just cut it into shorts and then I put it into a short video. Now, when I get a chance, I would love to do more exclusive shorts, especially for everybody out there. I definitely want to make more, and I would certainly would do it. But that's the main reason. It's because they're all originally from my long format videos, so everyone can see these the more of the long format videos, just to bring them in. So I'm all about to buy all 20. Oh, really? All 25 kits? I know, right? That's right, LSG. There, we could have. You could literally open up a small business. You could buy these and literally flip them. Now I'm not endorsing anybody to scalp. That is the last thing I want anybody to do when it comes to PC gaming. That's a very terrible thing to do. But that's honestly a good price. I'm just curious to see if how much 96 gigabytes is, or how much 96 gigabytes. Oh, that's actually not bad. $500. That's as much as a. That's as much. This is CL36, I believe, right? No, CL40. Slow, but that's pretty sad to see this for $500 and say, oh, that's not too bad, and it's CL40. Sup, should I buy a 9060 XT 16 gigabytes or a Samsung Odyssey 34-inch monitor? I currently have 4060-80. If you currently have a 4068 gigabytes, you're short with the cap because of yeah, because that was green screened. That was because it wasn't really green screen. That was actually through the app. Meta PCS crypto scams. Then so 9060 XT 16 gigabyte would work much better with the Samsung Odyssey 34. 4060 won't work as well because obviously, as you know, the VRAM is at its maximum limit there. So I would highly suggest Ant-Man to go ahead and get the 9060 XT if you have to. Go 9070 if you can. 9070 would certainly hit the refresh rate that you are looking for. Yeah, go ahead. Definitely see it. But I would recommend that. Let me just fix that one. I know you vertical guys aren't seeing the feature chat, so I got to make sure to fix that for you guys there. For some reason, you guys, it put everything all over the place. I don't even know where it's at anymore. Oh, of course it's moving this. So let me lock that in place. And there we go. Shrink that down. Beautiful. Now hopefully you guys can see it. There we go. Apologize for that. And now I'll run the test. Okay, cool. I have a 5700G. I play at 1080p. All right, beautiful. Yeah, now it's showing up. Again, too small. There we go. So I'm also switching over to ATM, because it seems that Streamlabs has been running into different issues. This has just been a lot more smoother in transitions, as you can tell. But this is certainly the better way of moving the stream currently. But yeah, so highly recommend 9070 XT at the minimum. What's your refresh rate, out of curiosity? Which 34-inch Odyssey do you have, out of curiosity here? Kyrian, yes. You know, the funny thing is, I'm really tempted. I'm myself. Maybe this weekend, if we do it, I will let you guys know on Discord. I really have a tough decision. Something that I definitely got to bring up on the roundtable here, which I will let you guys know. And it's a tough decision I have to make because, honestly, there is a couple ideas that I do want to run through. Like, here's a good deal. Even the 12 gigabytes, that's actually pretty decent. But again, 12 gigabytes is like, yeah, not the card you want to get currently. Right now I have an Asus 24-inch monitor, 144 hertz. Perfect. That's good. But the Samsung's probably at, I think now the minimum. If you notice, if anybody is purchasing a monitor or display, you'll notice that the minimum now is like 240 hertz. It really has become more of the minimal because you don't really see as many 144 hertz. You used to see 165, 180, but now 240 is like more of the average you see now. All right, ADX, thank you for coming in. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you coming in. I'm excited for it. Who's excited for all these Black Friday deals? I will certainly have a video based on that. I hope everybody has their money saved up, ready for it to pull the trigger on some Black Friday sales. I hope you got some RAM early in the year. Hopefully you have some just sitting around. Maybe, I'm not encouraging theft, but if you do have any RAM inside the house somewhere, maybe you could borrow it. Because that's, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to go anywhere there. 12 gigabytes is like, no, I'm talking about 12 gigabytes the Zotac card on the 5070. Yeah. So like this card here, 5070s you can get for a decent deal. 9070 XT, again, that's the one I definitely encourage for anybody to take a look at if you are looking at GPUs here. If you are looking at a GPU, this ASRock AMD, it's actually one of the more silent GPUs out there. So if you're looking for silent, you want to play something like Battlefield 6 with no problem, it certainly can. Black Ops 7 is obviously, yeah, I got to bring that up though. That's one thing I haven't brought up to you guys yet is, yes, believe it or not, DDR4 is actually now worth something. That's actually unavailable everywhere now. But speaking of which, what are your guys' thoughts about Black Ops 7? I gotta hear what you guys think about it currently. I would love to know what you guys think of the game. If you guys actually played the game, how do you feel about it? Regardless of what you hear, all the noise that you currently hear about the game, what is your thoughts about it? Because I want to hear everybody's opinions on this. $20 for the mystery 3 green sticks. There you go. You know, at the time, DDR5, when it first released, it was one of the hardest RAM kits to get. And I was building a PC for a friend, and we had to end up purchasing actually DDR5 directly from Dell. And then luckily, within that same week, we also managed to purchase some Corsair RAM. At the time, it was 5200 megahertz, was like high end. So we ended up finding the 5200 megahertz of RAM. We got it. And then we ended up selling those Dell ones on eBay, and he practically got his full money back for it. So he had it like for that week, sold it, got his money back, and now he had like some brand new, fresh DDR5 32 gigabytes of RAM. And but it's kind of reminds me of that. And and those two for the 5200 megahertz for, I think it was CL38 at the time, CL38 or CL40. It was $320. I remember the price directly on point because this was on Dell's website, which is pretty insane. And this was when DDR5 really first came out there. So yeah, I have 1K saved up. I'm not trying to spend money, not trying to break the bank. So I saw an article earlier today, Samsung saying that their SSD prices were expected to go up. You know why? Because SSDs also contain some RAM in it, depending on what it is. Like for example, in PCI Express 4 or PCI Express 5, doesn't matter what type of M.2 drive. Some of them don't require RAM. Some of them are DRAM-less practically. But there's a lot of them that does contain some sort of RAM in there. And because of it, that will also cause the spiking for SSDs to actually go up in pricing too. Didn't buy Battle. Okay, so nobody bought Black Ops 7. Skibidi. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it looked like, right? A Skibidi toilet boss fight. That's what it seemed like. Except he came from like a wheelchair, was it? I remember in that scene. That was kind of sad. AI advertising. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, especially with all it was kind of sad, like, how they structured everything. They ended up, like, spending so much money, right? This big franchise, they were trying to really blow this up, and they were trying to say, Black Ops 2 is going to be the next. I mean, the Black Ops 7 is going to be the next Black Ops 2, and that's how they represented the game. But sometimes I'm pretty surprised at how some people are like in really strong denial of the game, especially even some of the creators out there that are, Call of Duty creators. I get it. They have to do something. They have to make it look interesting. But you have to admit when a game isn't good. You just have to say, this is just direct trash. You'll get more respect if you're honest, I feel, when it comes to something like that. So you have between a 9060 XT, 16 gigabytes, between the 5060 Ti. 5060. Now, what is your use at, man? What are you trying to use the 5060 Ti for? Let's see. Well, we'll take a look at the price between two of them. So the 5060 Ti, you can purchase it for about as low as $300. This is actually really cheap. $352. Remember, the RTX 5060 is technically really a 5050. It's not truly a successor. It's not really a successor of the 4060 or even the 3060. It's really kind of like a backwards trend currently when it comes to GPUs. So when you hear 5060, think of 4060. And when you think of the modern, like more of like the 3060s of back then, now that's equivalent to like the 4070. So it's all mixed up now. That's why I don't recommend the 4060s as much. I mean 5060s. Now, if you take a look at something like the RX 9060 XT, you have to put 16 gigabytes because they don't separate it by removing the XT. That's at least the most common sense way you would think they would do it, but unfortunately they don't. So 16 gigabytes, $350, not a bad deal. Again, that's a decent deal. You still can game on it, still get decent frames. Check your PSU if you currently have one. What's that? 12 volt high power port. Now the 5060 Ti's, not all of them have them. Let's take a look back. That's what I'm assuming you're talking about. Like for example, let's take a look at this MSI one, see if it requires a 12 volt high power port. More than likely not. Let me see. We'll zoom in. Yeah, this is, if you guys can see it, that's just standard PCI Express right there. So that's nothing crazy. You don't really need a 12 volt high power port. Same thing with the 9060s. So they're the only 50 series that doesn't require it. So when I was at Micro Center, you can easily find a Corsair RAM, and that's what I mean. It's pretty insane. Yeah, I saw that. That one. Man, you made out. It was nice, right? The Phoenix location, I bet, was really nice and clean. You probably, how far is the Phoenix location to you again? I have a 850 watt Corsair PSU. That'll work. You don't really need a lot of power for any of these cards, whether if it's the RTX 5060 Ti or if it's the RX 9060. You just don't need it. They don't require a 12 volt high power port. Now, again, this is a card I don't recommend. I would recommend a little bit more stronger. I would definitely go up a notch a bit. I would definitely go 5070 Ti if you're going to go, because you need 16. I know that's 16 gigabytes, but it's not going to be that much of a performance enhancement as you think, especially if you're going to go through like more of a linear upgrade, like from say like a 4060 to a 5060. You won't notice much of a difference. 25 miles away, depending on, oh, okay, so it's not too bad. 30 hours to 2. Wow, that's quite the difference in traffic there. PSU for 9950X. So the minimal you'll need for something like that setup is 850. Here again, 850 watts would be the minimal. Yes, 850 watts would certainly do for something like that. Would be minimal. But if you want to be safe, 1000 watts is always the perfect point when it comes to a PSU for sure. So you want to go to that route. Like for example, if we look at a 850 watt, let's see what they got now. 850 watt PSU. You're obviously going to need if you go 9070 XT, depending on the model you get. Some of them have the 12 volt high power port, But just in case, let's look at ATX 3.1 since that's more of the standard now. Now, ATX 3.1, if nobody knows exactly what that is, it just means it contains the 12-volt high-power port. For example, if I were to upgrade to a RTX 5080, I can use the harness that comes with the GPU and plug it directly to the PSU, but I would preferably not prefer that. Instead, I would prefer to hook it up directly to the PSU. Hence, that's what ATX 3.1 is for, because they have the port to be able for you to hook it up instead of using the harness that actually comes from the GPU. Just like this one right here, 850 watts, ATX 3.1 compatible. Also contains the 12 plus 4 pin graphics connection, 3x62 pins. Let's see. It should be right in here. Let's see. We're right here. That's what you want to look at. 12 volt 2x6 they call it, which is the newer version of what they used to call 12 volt high power port, which I constantly call it that still. So look at the 9070 XT Hellhound in white. They have the 9070 XT Red Devil White Edition, do they? That would be pretty sick. I'm just going to type that in and see if it comes up here. Now, let me go and take a look for it. Ace Rock Power Color. This is what it would be, Hellhound. This is it. And they actually have 4 in stock. That's pretty dope. And it's right here. $749. So that would go really nice in a build if you're going all white here. That'd be sick. I went on opening day. I don't know how many, but there were so many GPUs. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. You should see it when it's empty. When it's empty, it just feels depressing. Like, you'll see a lot of people go there. I remember, like, when the 50 series was first coming out at Micro Center, and there was lines formed for people to get into the store. And it got to the point where people were just not getting into the store. Well, they would wait the night before to get into the store, where they weren't even sure if there was going to be any GPUs in stock. And I mean any. Like, whether if it was 50 series or 40 series. And that was just earlier this year. Chris, given all the talk about RAM prices tonight, would you say 96 gigabytes of G-Skill RGB RAM 6800 CL3444? Yes. That's actually a really great price. That's an excellent price. If you can get it for that cheap, I hardly see CL34. But if you can really get it for that price, that's a good deal. Currently, there is an open box 5090. Oh, really? Only for $300 off? Come on. They can do better than that. Because if you guys don't know how much the 5090 Astral is, I'll show you. The 5090 Astral is quite expensive. And that's if you haven't seen the GPU with the 4 fans, that's what the Astral is. It's a GPU that it's quite bulky. And as you can see, $3,300. It's still very expensive. So for $300 off, technically it's $3,000. So it's still very pricey. And then at least you have 30 days if you do plan to purchase this to return it if you want to. And they even give you an affirm deal if you want to go ahead and lease it. At this point, you might as well just remortgage it with your house. It's still insane, like how expensive it is. I was surprised that my Corsair PSU didn't have the high power port, but had the 2 8 pins to 12 volt. Oh, okay. No, I unfortunately do not have that card. I tried to get it, but with much attempts, I did not get this card. So I ended up getting actually Gigabyte's RTX 5090, the Gigabyte Oris Master. So I love that GPU though. It's still a great GPU. But this I'm really curious about, especially if you guys haven't seen it. Like when it comes to the new RTX 5090 Matrix, they actually produce very little of it just because of how expensive it is. It actually has a self-leveling feature. It's crazy. I'll show it to you guys. It looks like this. Not the best looking card pretty crazy looking, like for the colors wise. And now, if you look on here, as dual inputs, right? It has that BTF connector, high power connector. If you want to hook it up to your PC, that has a BTF board, has vapor chambers, and the self-leveling is what's wild here. The level sense. Live graphic card position monitor to ensure a perfect 90-degree angle. So it will let you know if it's perfectly leveled. So this card's insane. I wonder if it might show it right here, in fact, because the level will, I think it will show it on this. But would you spend that much money for it? It's a $4,000 card. I hope that doesn't happen when you plug in a 12-volt high power port. And then wait till they level it out here. Hopefully they show it here. No, they're just showing. It looks like just there you go. That's the BTF connector right there. Nope, they didn't show it. But it does have self-leveling if anybody doesn't want to manually level it out. Hey Chris, the Phanteks XT M3 fan model. What fans are they, and how do I buy a pack of 3 for the intake at the bottom? So what you want to get for the intake on the bottom, you just want to get the standard case versions of the XT M3. So I'll show you. Phanteks. You don't have to get the reverse fans because since you're facing it on the bottom side, to buy a pack of them, M3. Let's see. They'll actually list it on their site here. So you just want those fans, right? The case fans that they actually come with. The M25. This is it. I bet that's what it is. No. That's a compact version. Let's go down. Fan positions. I don't know how Phanteks works with their buy page. They don't really have a buy page. They just kind of lead you to go and purchase it. You would just purchase it directly like off of Newegg, or you would purchase it directly off of Amazon. Those are more of their locations, how they hand it off, like when it comes to their fans here. So again, for their fans here, let's see. So it comes with the mainboard SSD. This is mainly going to be the one that's spec'd for the ones that is fanless. So this is the, let me go back here. Let's try to get these fans so that way we can do it right. XTM3, black, and yeah, it's got to be M25. It's got to be. That's why UK PC part, probably. That's probably the reason. Because in order for you to get it, it has to go through like, yeah, this is the M25. That is going to be the fan, I bet. Let's see if we can find it. There you go. Yep, that's it. Newegg. And this is the one you want. Now, the Phanteks has excellent fans, though. They have quite a nice design. I remember when they kind of tried to like change up the whole wording. Same with the fan model. Yeah. So this is going to be it. So for you to get a triple, they sell it on Amazon, but this is the D30. D30s are a different fan. Let's see. Here it is. M25 triple fans. They do have it on Amazon. But they just don't have it available at UK, right? That's what it is. Maybe, are you able to probably purchase it like through EA? It's a flat center though. If it's a flat center, now more than likely these centers here, they're probably just mirrors, I bet. Because this is the version 2. Like you're probably used to seeing this. It's just going to be a mirror, so it's going to make it look like there's like a hole. So this is just probably more than likely an up-to-date version. They don't have any of the regular ones left. The regular ones would look like Let me see the model inside the case. Okay. So if we go back into the case here, looks just like this. These are the ones you're talking about, right? But it could also be a more up-to-date model, depending on, I don't know when you got your PC case. Because this is the version 2. They also have a version 1, too. If they have the version 1, they're going to be quite a little different. Just fan-wise, it's nothing going to be crazy different. And we can look around the case, because this has the USB-C in the front, has the USB 3. Also in the front, has 3.5mm jack and a power button. All on the bottom side of the case, if that's the correct case. And this is the inside. That's the USB 3.0, it looks like. And here's a closer look even. And how the usual setup is. You can set it up just like this. Because it sounds like what you're saying, you could do a setup similar to this, where you can hook up the fans on the bottom, just like a 360 kind of setup for your PC. Is that correct? Just like that. Apologize if that was too quick there. And storage drive, of course. And pretty much that's everything about this specific case. Oh man, I wonder if I'm going to take a look at something while you're pondering and trying to figure out if that's the case there. I'm going to look at Micro Center real quick, because I wonder if they have it yet. You know, it's a shame, because I really want to get this 50, I think it's the 5200 Air, right? Or 5400 Air. I already mixed up the numbers for Corsair's case here. Corsair, I think it's the 5400 Air. Yeah, that's it. It's probably not in stock yet. Only in Newegg they have it. And this is it right here. And this is a really dope design, because the way about this case, it's triple chambered. That's what I really like about it. Like, you can actually cool off your GPU, and you can also cool off your CPU. Same with the PSU. So this is great for a BTF build. That is amazing. This is the type of case I would certainly want to take a look and mess with. I even like how they really set it up well. That is a sick setup. And that's another thing. When we do this upcoming build, now of course we got Project Stealth coming up, which is practically all not Stealth, but Project Ninja, which is going to be all blacked out PC build. And also want to do like a BTF build coming up too, because that would be pretty sick to do. Only problem is, if we want to truly BTF, we have to get like the BTF GPU, and hopefully they're going to be a bit easier to access. But we'll find out in time. We certainly will. Let's see what this combo offer is. Check out the Thermaltake AHT200. That's the case you have. Okay, for sure. Now, if you combo this deal with Corsair's RGB white, of course they would. Why would they? I guess if you do a white build, it would make a bit more sense. You get this 230, and then you can, and then the RAM disappears. What sense is that? Tell me how that makes sense. Or the RAM turns black. Makes absolutely no sense. Because you would think that if they're trying to sell you something, that they would package it together. But anyway, let's take a look at this Thermaltake AHT200. All right, so, oh, okay, that's pretty sick. I like that case. I always like some unique looking cases, because I know everybody gets kind of tired of this whole fish tank vibe that they currently have going on. Like, everything is like a straight up square glass, and people get tired of it. But this is pretty dope though. I like it. It's very unique, and definitely fits like almost like if you are a car enthusiast, this would be your case. Certainly. Because it would look like one. Looks like a super PC. Damn, look at those grills up there. And I can see all the ports up there. That's nice too. Let me see. I want to see those ports up there. I'm curious to see what they have. Let's see. PHF120M25. So that's the original one, as we suspected. So it's not the V2, it's the original one. We thought that. We originally thought that. You know what? Let's go ahead and play this.
Hello, I'm Donnie.
And
USA, and I'd like.
Let's try to get this right here. It's so weird, YouTube. You gotta manually select it in HD, even though it says it's in HD. Black, snow. Okay. And now 44.4 centimeters. Nice. That is pretty sick. I do like the design of that. And then I'm really cute. I like how the glass comes off. Very nice. These are always nice when you're able to remove all the excess. So SSD. I want to see the ports. That's what I'm really curious about. The ports up on the top of it. And you got the panels. And let's see, what about the top up here? Oh, that's unique. Nice. Easy to access. I would definitely put 140 up there. Like for the fans, definitely 140. So you can fit 280 up to the front, graphics card length. So you're a bit limited depending on what you put in there. Power supply, I wouldn't worry as much. Here you go. So USB 3, USB-C. You have RGB light or reset light, that looks like. I'm surprised they still have that loading light on it. Like if you still have a hard drive or something hooked up to it. But yeah, that's nice though. I do like that case. I do like that case. PSU blind list is no joke. I had the white version. Oh, nice. I do like it. I do like the case though. It is sick. It's funny how it's a micro chassis. I didn't realize how small the GPU fitment would actually be. But it is nice though. I'm really curious to see what their offering is going to be too. Like once it's CS 2026, like once that comes around. Also, anybody's just coming in, we will certainly be at CS 2026. Make sure you subscribe and also make sure to follow the channel and don't forget to join our free Discord. Make sure to join the wonderful roundtable. It is awesome. We have a lot of fun, definitely for sure. Looking forward to the upcoming year. I'm sure there's going to be a lot going on, especially for this whole mess that's with what's going on with the RAM, what's going on with the PC components. I'm really curious to see how they're going to introduce everything in CES, because now it's going to make you question a lot of things, because now we were all looking forward to AMD's new GPU that's going to be released. And now exactly how are they going to release it now? How will they release AMD's, if they did release a new high-end GPU, how are they going to release it properly at this point? Because everything's up in price when it comes to GPUs, and the pricing of RAM is also up. Yeah, it took a little while to find that case. They have an ATX case. Oh, okay. The ATX case was the 300 I got. Oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, that's it's a nice case though. I certainly do like it. Definitely a thumbs up on that. You should post up your PC build on Discord. We definitely would love to see it on there. It would be nice. Let's see. Speaking of AMD GPU, what is the Redstone stuff? Now, the Redstone stuff, let me just post up the Discord real quick, guys. For anyone that hasn't joined in, feel free to join it in. It's free for anyone to join in on Discord here. Oh, that's right. I gotta update my my Twitter. The Redstone stuff. I don't know what the Redstone stuff is you're talking about. But I can certainly say, though, we will certainly ask a lot of questions. We will try to get access. We'll be at the AMD at 26 at the CES conference, so you can certainly ask your questions that you do have. I am certainly hoping that they do have a high-end card. It'd be nice for them to actually compete, because if you guys haven't heard the current rumors that are going on, that NVIDIA is actually going to start slowing down on making GPUs and everything. I think AMD is also rumored the same thing, that they're going to slow down on GPUs because of how RAM is currently. The ray tracing changes. No, I've been. I gotta look into it. AMD Redstone. Huh. Definitely will look into that. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see. That it's hard to say because I can't really conclude anything on that because there's very few titles that actually support any of that currently, and that's going to be like based on like FSR4 and everything. We gotta hope that they will have more games that they will end up posting that would actually have it. Redstone is just going to be practically like a ray regeneration. So I'm curious to see how well it ends up working, if that's the case. But it's it's funny too, because you would think a game like Call of Duty Black Ops 7 would start helping them out on the AMD side, but it's just, yeah, I think it's going to be a little while until we actually see the Redstone in action. They might try to, you know what, that's a great question too, because it makes me curious if they're actually going to model it a bit more at CES 2026 upcoming, because then that would be something for them to certainly show. And it's it's quite a showing. Let me see if I can pull up the catalog here. Let me, because they already have, not join. They already have the itinerary for some of this stuff, so I am certainly excited to see what they're going to show. I know for a fact that Asus is going to be there. Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, Razer, Deepcool, Intel. Who else? I'm pretty sure NVIDIA is going to be there. It's going to be mostly everybody you can think of. The only people that actually, ironically, the only ones that don't usually go to CES is Corsair. Believe it or not, Corsair doesn't usually go to CES. Every other company does, but Corsair is like the one exception that doesn't go for some weird, odd reason. I'm not sure exactly why. And I've always asked them every year if they're going to go, and they always say that they're not going. Arctic's good. Actually, that Arctic's actually really good. Yeah, Deepcool. Deepcool's actually pretty decent. They're actually, you know, the funny thing is I actually use a Deepcool AIO on my Threadripper build. So they are actually pretty decent. That was another thing I wanted to change out too, because I feel like this AIO was in the system for quite a bit of time. And I don't want to keep leaving it inside the way it is, because I built the system early 2020. It's almost 6 years old already. Yeah, 6 years old. Pretty insane. A full contact plate size for the vapor chamber stuffed cooler. Yeah. They have a lot of nice selection. I really want to see what Noctua brings. I want to see if they have their next generation fans, the version 2. They already have the DH15 version 2 for those who like fan coolers, like for their CPUs, which is a much more improved version. That's something that will also be brought up in the CPU coolers, the top CPU coolers for 2025. That's going to be coming up on Sunday for everyone to know. But yeah, Arctic is good. Yes. And they're actually one of the ones I actually bring up in the video coming up soon. And I will actually touch base on Arctic. There's quite a few. Another one that's actually quite underrated, which is Thermalright. Thermalright's actually pretty decent too. So make sure to stay tuned on Sunday morning. I will definitely post it. Now, if everybody's just joining in, or if you're enjoying, the lurkers are currently enjoying the chat, hopefully you are. If you make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, or follow, would certainly highly appreciate it. We are almost at the 10,000 mark. Once we hit it, we will have a big stream day. We will definitely do a tour of the studio. We will also play games. We will have a lot of fun. A big celebration and big appreciation day from all of you guys out there. Doesn't matter when you came in. Everyone is counted for. So Thermalright is overrated. You think so? You think, in your opinion, Thermalright's overrated? Really? That's interesting. Next up, electricity generated liquid nitrogen air coolers. Yeah, practically it's all going to be wireless at that point. So, FanBam guys, make sure you don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Oh, Destiny, good to see you. I missed you up there. Is it true thermal? Why did I miss all that? That's so weird. But anyway, I gotta say, I appreciate everybody for coming in. Make sure you don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to the channel. Next time I will be going live will be this upcoming Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Huh. Blah, blah. Yeah, you can tell I need a meal now. And also, if I do any type of random streams, if I do decide to do a gaming stream, all of you guys will certainly be the first to know. And much love. Appreciate everybody out there for joining in. And make sure to join our wonderful Discord. Yeah, it seems like it. I got to ask, do you have a chair guide video? No, I should come out with one. I definitely will. You know what? That's a good point. I will make one. Because this is important. This is one of those things where it's very underrated. A lot of people will end up getting a gamer chair. That is the biggest mistake anyone can do. I'll tell you that right now. That will break your back. Kind of like what Bane did to Batman in the comic. So I'm telling you, don't get a gaming chair. Certainly go with something that's more of an office chair. That will certainly be a lot better for everyone out there. So thank you guys, and thank you everybody for joining in. I certainly do appreciate you guys for coming in. Thanks so much, and hope to see you on Saturday. Also, I will be let everybody know as well when I do some sort of random stream. Thank you guys. Much love and appreciate it.